Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16. Krishna chastises the serpent Kaliya. So we will do today text 45 and 46. 45 does not have a purport, so we will together read 46. I will just read the verse and the translation of 45, and then together we will read 46. Okay. Namah Krishnaya Ramaya Vasudeva Sutaya Cha Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Satvatang Pataye Namaha. We offer our obeisances to Lord Krishna and Lord Rama, the sons of Vasudeva, and to Lord Pradyumna and Lord Aniruddha. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the master of all the saintly devotees of Vishnu. Text 46. Please repeat after me. Namaha Gunapradipaya Guna Atma Chadhanaya Cha Guna Vritti Upalakshyaya Gunadrashtre Swa Sangvide Namo Guna Pradipaya Gunatma Chadanaya Cha Gunavrityupalakshyaya Gunadrashtre Swasangvide Namo Guna Pradipaya Gunatma Chadanaya Cha Gunavrityupalakshyaya Gunadrashtre Swasangvide Namo Guna Pradipaya Gunatma Chadanaya Cha Gunavrityupalakshyaya Gunadrashtre Swasangvide. Gunavrityupalakshyaya Please, someone. Matajis. Gunatmachadhanaya cha Gunavrityupalakshyaya Gunadrashtre Swasangvide Namaha. Obeisances. Gunapradipaya, to him who manifests qualities. Guna, by the material modes. Atma, himself. Chadhanaya, who disguises. Cha, and guna, of the modes. Vritti, by the functioning. Upalakshyaya, who can be ascertained. Gunadrashtre, to the separate witness of the material modes. Swa, to his own devotees. Sangvide, who is known. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON. Translation. Obeisances unto you, O Lord, who manifest varieties of material and spiritual qualities. You disguise yourself with the material qualities, and yet the functioning of those same material qualities ultimately reveals your existence. You stand apart from the material qualities as a witness and can be fully known only by your devotees. Purport. The word guna conveys various meanings. The three basic qualities of material nature, that is goodness, passion and ignorance, excellent qualities, one manifests because of piety and spiritual achievement, or the internal senses, such as the mind and intelligence. The word pradipaya means unto him who manifests or illumines. Thus here the Nagapatnis are addressing the Supreme Lord as he who manifests all material and spiritual qualities and who causes the living entities to be conscious. One can see the Lord by going beyond the screen of material nature, and therefore he is called Gunatma Chadhanaya. If one methodically and intelligently studies the functioning of the material qualities, he will ultimately conclude that there is a supreme personality of Godhead and that he exhibits his illusory potency to bewilder those who do not surrender unto him. The Lord is never affected by the modes of nature, being their witness, and thus he is called Gunadrashtre. The word swa indicates one's own, and thus swa sangvade means that Lord Krishna can be known only by his own people, the devotees. And also that ultimately only the Lord can know himself perfectly. Therefore, we should take Lord Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita and immediately come to the right conclusion. Full surrender to the Lord's lotus feet. Thus, we should humbly glorify the Lord, following the example of the Nagapatnis. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. See, we're continuing to hear the prayers offered by the wives of the Kaliya, Nagapatnis. So they have been very philosophically explaining how Krishna is the master of the senses and how his pastimes are glorious. Not only glorious, it's inconceivably glorious, means his pastimes can be appreciated. Still, some of the pastimes, what he is doing, it's not so easily that could be understood. So it is inconceivable. And also, I'm just explaining these points from the previous verse that is being given. And also in verse number 45, just the verse that what we did now the before, they are actually very humbly offering their obeisances to Nama Krishnaya Ramaya. They are offering their obeisances to the Lord, Supreme Person of God is Sri Krishna. It is mentioned that they are mentioning specifically son of Vasudeva. And also they are offering by using the word Vasudeva Sutaya Cha also refers to, here specifically they offer respects to Krishna, the Swayam Bhagavan, and also his 4 expansions, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So they are offering their obeisances to his expansions as well. And they are addressing Krishna in relation to his devotees. Satvatang Pataye Namaha. So who are you? Who is the Supreme Lord? He is actually worshipped by his pure devotees. Satvatam Pate. They are using the word. So, and in this verse where there is a purport, it is explained that they are actually addressing the Lord as Guna Pradipaya. This is again an amazing point. Guna Pradipaya means the Lord who manifests all the qualities. Unless the Lord manifests the qualities, it is not so. That means what? He is actually manifesting the spiritual nature and he is manifesting the material nature. Unless he gives the vision, unless he desires, it's not possible for us to conceive of anything. It is highly impossible to, with our own senses and mind, very difficult for us to understand anything, very difficult for us to perceive anything. So we need his intervention. So they call him as Guna Pradipaya. And then they call him as Gunatma Chadhanaya. Now here, he is the master of all the 3 modes of material nature. The 3 modes of material nature are working under his control. So there are several places in the Bhagavatam and other places as well it is mentioned, this word Gunatma is being referred. How Krishna is the controller of all the 3 modes. The 3 modes are subservient to him, and which means that since he is the controller of all the 3 modes, the modes cannot act on him. So this is an important point in the Gita also. Krishna again and again he clarifies this. Also he is the creator of the gunas, he is not under the gunas. So when the Lord descends to this material world, he is not under the influence of the gunas, although he appears like a ordinary person. Guda kapata manushaha. Although the Lord is masked himself, it appears like he is undergoing some lamentation, he is undergoing some joyful moments, but it is not like that of an ordinary person in the material world who is actually influenced by the 3 modes. So recently we were discussing about the qualities of Lord Ram, and then we see one of the qualities that is called as Jita Krodha. Jita Krodha means one who has kept anger under his control, or whenever he wants to exhibit anger, he will exhibit anger, whenever he wants to do it. So which is a very clear symptom that he is not under the 3 modes. The modes are under his control. So he is called as Gunatma Chadanayacha. So here the point that is being made is the Lord actually he covers himself with the curtain for the non-devotees. It's not possible for the non-devotees to see the Lord. Nahang prakasha sarvasya moha yogamaya samavritah. So the Lord covers it. So Kunti Marani also very nicely she puts it. She says, Maya javanika channam agnya dhokshajam avyayam na lakshase mudadrisha nato natya dharoyata. She says that, see you can see there is one screen, the Lord covers himself with Yogamaya. For the outsiders, the Mahamaya covers them. They cannot see. Although the Lord may stand in front of them, still they cannot see. Because they don't want to see. Duryodhana was the Lord was right in front of him, but he could not see the Lord. He could not see the great qualities of the Lord. He could not see that he is the Supreme Personality of God, and he just saw him as a magician. That's it. Why? Exactly that's what. Gunatma Chadanayacha. He covers himself with the qualities. So that means that the jivas are covered by the 3 modes of material nature. They cannot see. So elsewhere, Prabhupada gives an example of the sun. It appears like the cloud is covering the sun, right? When he says, oh, the clouds have covered. The clouds can never cover the sun. It's not possible. How the clouds can cover the sun? But our vision is covered by the clouds. That's the point. So similarly, the Lord, He doesn't have to show Himself to anyone who is not interested in Him. Why He has to show Himself? Like we ourselves in our life, we have this experience. Someone comes, often so many people come, when you go out for book distribution, we cannot even enter some of the flats. Already you have such a heavy security check, they don't allow us. But even if they allow, supposing sometimes some security is not there, we all have experience. When we go and then knock at the door, some lady comes and then she says, we want to show some books. No, I am actually only the servant here. The owner has gone out somewhere. Actually, she is the owner. We very well know. We all have this experience. No, what can I don't have any money. I don't nothing. No, she doesn't want to see, so she cannot see. Will not see. Similarly, when we can do this, why not the Lord? The Lord, He just when we see that we are demoniac, we don't have desire to see Him. So the Lord doesn't show Himself. So here it is mentioned, Gunatma Chadhanaya cha. So the Lord disguises Himself. For us, we are covered with the material qualities. So we are completely covered. That's our situation. Then another interesting point that is being made here is that Gunavrit Upalakshaya. But He can still be ascertained by in the material world, we are there in the material world, at least we can come to an extent that seeing the creation, seeing the various qualities of the material nature, we can come to a conclusion that there is a controller. Actually, in the second canto of the Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami goes on to explain about how the living entity, using the senses and the mind, he can come up to an extent to know that there is a creator. Very nicely explains. The Lord is seated inside the heart as Paramatma. By logic and by inference, you can come up to an extent that there is a controller. So they also, Srila Prabhupada elsewhere gives an example of a pot. By looking at the pot, immediately you understand that there is a potter. So this much one can understand. So when you're looking at the creation, any person who is a little normal will appreciate that there is a creator. For anything for that matter, you can take a watch. When you look at the watch, obviously there should be a person who should have designed this watch. You may not know who is that person, but at least you can come to a conclusion that yes, there is a person who has designed the watch, because there is some intelligence there. There is a lot of dynamics that has gone into that watch. So how it cannot happen by chance, for sure. So definitely there should be a designer. So here it's pointed out that Gunavrit Upalakshyaya. So the modes, the creation here can give us a hint. So anyone who is a little intelligent and who is sensible can come to a conclusion that yes, there is a creator. That is, things are not under our control. It is beyond our control, and we can see things are in order. There is an order. There are things happening in perfect system. So immediately there is a controller. This is and Prabhupada, in one of the purports to the Kunti Maharani's prayers, in one place he says that, but for those, I think yes, exactly for the first verse, where Kunti Namasya Purusham Tvadyam, in that purport, if you see, Prabhupada is pointing out that for those who are stubborn, who do not want to accept the existence of God, they can never see. It's not possible for them to accept. Otherwise, a person who is now so much they are speaking about being rational and rational and rational. If really someone is little rational, this much he can come to a conclusion that yes, there is some organized things that is happening. That means if things are organized, means there is an organizer. This much with the so-called rationality, if he cannot come to this conclusion, he is so totally irrational. He is not a rational person at all. So this much one can understand. So that's being pointed out here. Gunavrit Upalakshyaya. And again, this word Gunadrashtre is an interesting word here. It's when we use Gunadrashtre, means this also we can see often it's being referred by many devotees in the Bhagavatam. Gunadrashtre means he is the actual seer or he is the witness. One thing is that unless he sees, we cannot see. What Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he's Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. It is under his supervision, everything is, all the moving and non-moving things, everything is working under his supervision. If he doesn't, actually, if you just think about it, the creation, how it happens, because the Lord glances at the Prakriti. If he doesn't glance, the creation is not going to happen. The Prakriti is Jada. So when he glances, then the creation happens and everything works, everything starts moving. So here, the Nagapatnis are pointing out Gunadrashtre. So actually, he is the witness of all the three modes. And now, in the concluding two words that's being pointed out, Swaswamvide. Swaswamvide here means that Samvide means who can know him. Swa, only his own devotees. Only is revealed to his devotees. Because he shows himself to his devotees. Because of their submissiveness. Because of their acceptance with faith about the real person behind the entire creation, who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They have faith and they render service and they have experienced loving exchanges with him. So this is how they pray. And in the second part of the purport, it's being mentioned here, the Lord is never affected by the modes of nature, being their witness, and thus he is called Gunadrashtre. Now, I was just looking at the prayers of the Gajendra. The same word, Gunadrashtre, is used there. And very interestingly, Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he is actually pointing out how the Lord seeing enables even our material endeavors. Like we have our senses, we have our mind. Forget about serving the Lord, accepting his intervention in everything. Even to enjoy material things, even to enjoy your senses, without his seeing, it's not possible. So very nicely in the purport, Prabhupada is pointing out. So this is how the verse goes. We'll just look at it. Sarvendriya gunadrashtre sarva pratyaya hetave asata chayoktaya sad abhasaya te namaha. So sarva indriya gunadrashtre. So the Lord is the seer of all objectives pursued by the senses. It's a very interesting translation Srila Prabhupada is giving. So every one of us have different objectives. Different objectives means we all have different desires. We want different things to do. So to accomplish that, a sanctioner is required. You may say, I have my intelligence, I have my mind, I have studied this, I have learned this, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. But to attain that objective, we need the sanction of the Lord ultimately. And ultimately he has to see, even for our material endeavors. Even, someone says that, there is no God. Even for you to give that speech, you rascal, actually he has to approve, he has to give sanction. He has to give that energy. One finds we can't even lift the hand, we become paralyzed, we can't move the hand if he withdraws his energy. So Srila Prabhupada is pointing out so nicely here, he makes the point that the objectives of the sensual activities are actually observed by you. Without your direction, the living entity cannot take even a step forward. If you just a little bit peacefully think about it, it's a fact, it's 100% fact. Now, when we are, with good energy and, with all power, we don't even think about it. Even the breathing, one time we breathe in and breathe out. We don't even think about that. It just happens casually. But when there is a struggle for breathing, we may think, oh my God, I'm not able to breathe. It's that experience of some half an hour when I was under a tunnel or whatever that I cannot forget. Now I'm breathing. We are able to breathe because of the mercy of the Lord. If you just start observing every single activity that we are performing, actually, it is all by the mercy of the Lord. Because he sees, because he enables us to perform activity, we are able to do it. So he is actually Gunadrashtre. So Prabhupada goes on to explain in that purport. He says, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishta matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. You are situated in everyone's heart, and only from you come remembrance and forgetfulness. No, that's the whole point, no? If, we may have so many things, we may have all our plan, and the next moment, if we don't remember, it's all gone. Everything is gone. And even for our functioning in this material world. In the previous lives, we all have done so many abominable activities. And if we start to remember, then we can't lead life here in this material world at all. Even for so-called enjoyment, the Lord is enabling us. We are so rebellious, we want to be away from the Lord. So the Lord is giving facilities. Okay, I have created this material world, I have given you facilities so that you can forget me and then you can try to do, well, this will not last. So in that way, He is allowing us, and then in a very merciful way, again, He is helping us to correct ourselves and to come to our proper constitutional position. So Prabhupada goes on to explain, the living entity under the clutches of Maya wants to enjoy this material world, but unless you give him directions and remind him, he cannot make progress in pursuing his shadow objective in life. So very nicely he's putting that our objective is shadow objective. So what is shadow objective means is there is no substance there. I want to become this, I want to become that, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. So like that we have so many different kinds of desires, we just keep raising our hands, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. One fine day morning we have left the body. Our objective in the next life changes. It's again within the whole spectrum of different kinds of sense gratification, that's all. As a prime minister, you are trying to enjoy in a very different way. As an engineer, you are trying to enjoy in a different way. As a doctor, you are trying to enjoy in a different way. This is through profession, through sports, through economy, through, there are hundreds and hundreds of activities a person can perform. And because of the various different kinds of activities we have different kinds of objectives. And all those objectives are shadow objectives. What's the use of going for the shadow? We have to go for the real thing. Prabhupada many times speaks about substance and shadow. The substance or the reality is with the Supreme Lord. So Bhagavatam at the beginning very nicely it delineates reality distinguished from illusion. This is Bhagavatam. Very nicely it just gives what is Sat, what is Asat. And as long as we don't have this knowledge, we are just chasing the shadow. We are continuing with the shadow objectives. So Prabhupada mentions this point. He says, the conditioned soul wrongly progresses toward the wrong objective, life after life, and is reminded of that objective by you. Again, this is the whole point, no? Even to achieve that, Prabhupada is making a kind of little sarcastic thing, but then he is making a point that even to achieve that false objective or the so-called objective, he has to sanction. Without his sanction, it will not happen. And then further Prabhupada, right, he explains, but after his body changes, he forgets everything. Nonetheless, my Lord, because he wanted to enjoy something of this world, you remind him of this in his next birth. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Because the conditioned soul wants to forget you, by your grace, you give him opportunities, life after life, by which he can almost perpetually forget you. So again, you have to very carefully observe the point. It's not that Lord is pushing us for this. We want this. We are stubborn. We don't want to surrender to Him. So Lord is, okay, this is what you want. Okay, I will. As Paramatma is neutral. He's neither favoring nor he's just, okay, he's just sanctioning. But then gradually if you're going to change our face towards Him, then He comes forward. Then He just gives Himself to His devotees. So, Prabhupada further, in the purport, he makes the point, therefore, you are eternally the director of the conditioned souls. It is because you are the original cause of everything that everything appears real. The ultimate reality is your Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. This is Gajendra very nicely is pointing out. So, this is the whole point, no? So, everything appears to be real, everything appears to be with some action, because it is because of his guna drashtre, because he sees. Otherwise, everything is, it's a temporary thing in this material world. But only when we have jnana chakshushaha, when we have proper knowledge, we can see that we need the mercy of the Lord to see things in proper perspective. That's why we need the mercy of the spiritual master. Om ajnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun milita mena tasmai shri gurave namah. Why we bow down to the spiritual master? Because with the torchlight of knowledge, he has opened our eyes to see things in proper perspective. Otherwise, we will be continuously hankering to enjoy the shadow perspective of our life. Shadow objectives that we have set ourselves, and we are just foolishly craving for that. How many people, see there, some of them are trying to achieve, the first rank in IIT, in 12th standard, in board exams, different exams, and then when they're not able to achieve, they get into depression, they go mad. And if you see from the life's real perspective, what these objectives have got to do with our life. Just we have put on ourselves so many false objectives and we are chasing for that. It's like chasing the mirage. You're never going to see the water there. You just continuously keep chasing. So we have been bewildered by illusion. And furthermore, when we don't have that proper objective, what happens? Even to achieve such achieve such ends, we are ready to take up means of sinful act. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya preetya pranoti. This is the problem. Just to achieve that false means, false objectives, we are even ready to do sinful activities. What a pathetic situation. So gunadrashti. So here in the purport, it's being pointed out that in spite of that, so although it appears like Lord being the part of this world, He is not affected by any of these modes. He is not affected by the false objective. In fact, this illusion is put on us because we want to be away from Him. And now, at the end of the purport, very nicely it's mentioned about the contrast between a non-devotee and a devotee. So for a devotee, the Lord reveals swasangvide. The Lord reveals Himself to His devotees. And it's being pointed out here very nicely why we have to hear from the Lord, why we have to hear from His instructions, because He only knows about Him perfectly. No one else can know about Him. No one else in this world can know about His qualities perfectly. He knows perfectly about Him, so real intelligence is to hear from Him, hear from His bona fide representatives. So here in the commentary it's pointed out here that therefore, we should take Lord Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita and immediately come to the right conclusion, full surrender to the Lord's lotus feet. Thus, we should humbly glorify the Lord, following the example of the Nagapatni. So this is it's again a nice hint is given here. It's written here that we should humbly follow the footsteps of the Nagapatnis. Humbly glorify. Humbly glorify means the moment this word humbly comes here, we have to understand, give up your puffed up nature. Give up your way of trying to find out things on your own way, and you may keep trying in thousands and thousands of lifetimes. So better become humble. Humble means first of all accepting our insignificance, how we are under the control of the material nature. We are very small, we are very tiny, and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and through His pure devotees. So this is the beginning of spiritual life. Then the Lord will reveal Himself. Atasri Krishna Namadi Na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhehi jigvado swayam eva sprutyada. The Lord, Krishna's name, His form, His paraphernalia, His pastimes, everything will be revealed to a person who has this unmukha, who has this attitude of serving the Lord, accepting Him as the Supreme and engaging in His service. Then the Lord by His own will, swasangvide, the Lord will reveal Himself to His devotee. Otherwise it's not at all possible. We may stand upside down, whatever that we may try to do. We can see so many scientists are trying so many things. For years, they'll be continuously trying. And then they have to change their body. They have to change their objective in their next life. That's what will happen. But a devotee, he gets a clear objective by the mercy of the Lord and His pure devotees. So his objective is perfect. What is his objective? His one and only objective is to please the Lord. Whatever, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatat bhakti rahetu kitvai. Life after life, simply I want to engage in your devotional service. I don't want anything else. So this kind of an objective, he goes to this objective and he acts on this objective. He does not want money, he does not want fame, does not want followers, he does not want others to glorify him with the choices, verses, nothing. He doesn't hanker for anything. All these things he has tried in several lifetimes. He is completely come to the perfect objective of life to serve and surrender to the Supreme Lord. This is the whole point. Now the same verse, Srila Jiva Goswami, he gives another perspective. It's very interesting. He says that Guna Pradipaya. Here the same thing. He reveals the spiritual qualities. Pradipaya means he reveals. He reveals the spiritual qualities to whom? To his devotees. Gunatma Chadanaya. And what he does? He hides his real spiritual qualities to his non-devotees. And same point he is also making here. Gunavritti Upalakshyaya. He says that by seeing this material world, a person can ultimately come to a conclusion that he can come to that there is an authority. Upalakshyaya. He can be inferred by the operations of the different activities in this material world. One can come to know. And then he says that Guna Drashtre. So the Lord actually glances at the Prakriti and the creation happens. And then he points at Sasvamvide. And then he says that now there is for the Lord, to show his form and to show his various qualities, and there is no need for someone to, he manifests he manifests on his own. He can do it he does on his own. There is no need for anyone to help. And then he gives another explanation for the same verse. He says that the Lord, in the previous verse, you can see that the Lord is related with the Nagapatnis are offering their prayers and offering their obeisances to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also to the Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And now what he explains that he reveals his qualities. He is related to the Yadavas, but he is more related to the residents of the Gokula. He reveals his qualities such as being controlled by prema. And by those qualities, he hides himself. So what he does, so there are two kinds of devotees, right? One devotees are in the Aishwarya Gyan, another devotees are complete prema bhaktas. So for the prema bhaktas, he reveals himself, but for those who are with Aishwarya, he doesn't show some certain things. And then he says that hiding his powers, he becomes covered by the ropes. Here it is explained that Guna also you can see sometimes being referred as being translated as ropes. So he says that he is covered by the ropes. And then he says that ropes, it's very bewildering to understand that rope is long enough to move the mortar and push the Arjuna trees. But that same rope is very short to cover himself. This is what he says. And then he says that still when he is looking at that, because Drashtra is mentioned here, so he says that he is looking at those ropes and he is in fear. Oh, I am tied up. He's in fear. But even at that time, he says that he indicates to his friend about how to steal the butter. So he points out like that. So on his own, to his devotees alone, he just does that. So these are the amazing activities of the Lord. So anyway, the point here is that the Lord is, one other very interesting point I just missed here in the purport, they mentioned that the Lord has a specific quality. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary points out that the Lord is Bhakta Vatsala. He points out specifically how the Lord reveals himself to his devotees, because the devotees want to serve the Lord. Just even little bit of desire they have to serve the Lord. The Lord immediately, he looks at it. Even they may have so many deficiencies, they may have lack of many good qualities, but the moment the jiva turns his face towards the Lord and then he shows interest, the Lord immediately comes to help him. So this is an exceptional quality of the Lord, is Bhakta Vatsalya, that is being discussed by all the acharyas again and again. And knowing the Lord, great qualities, we should try to take shelter of him through his pure devotees. So we should pray to the Lord, whatever may be the inadequacies we will have, whatever may be the difficulties we have with our mind and senses. If we just take a humble position and then serve the Lord and his pure devotees, we will certainly be able to make progress. And this is also a part of bhakti, right? Having hope against hope. Sometimes it becomes very bewildering, it becomes very difficult, but we can see the lives of the devotees, great devotees in the past. We can see the lives of the great devotees who are surrendering and who are engaging in the Lord's service. We can see so many people are making progress. And even the difficult situations becomes, a devotee takes it as an opportunity to serve the Lord. He considers it as the mercy of the Lord, and he tries to submit himself and serve the Lord. And then we can see, then we will be able to come out of the lower tendencies, lower qualities, various doubts and various other lower tendencies we can overcome by the mercy of the Lord. We can see here that turn of event happened in the life of Kaliya, right? Kaliya was so envious, was so stubborn, so adamant, but then by the mercy of the lotus feet of the Lord, all is, the Lord controlled completely all his qualities, and then he actually bestowed mercy to Kaliya. So similarly, the same mercy is flowing to us. And we can see in the lives of so many people how we were before. We were so adamant, we were so puffed up, we all had different objectives in our life. But just by coming in touch with the divine teachings of Srila Prabhupada, who is carrying the pure message of Krishna consciousness, and it created impact in so many people's lives. And not only it is creating, it will create. When we have this faith, so what we will do? We will try to purify our existence. Not only that, we will try to help others. This the Lord very much appreciates. So when we say we are trying to climb the ladder, and while we are trying to climb the ladder, let's show to others, okay, here is the ladder, here is the path, come on, you can also take. Others, whomsoever is taking it more seriously, they may even climb more faster, that's fine. But at least from our side, we should be instrument. Nimitta matram bhava savya sachi. Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita. You just be an instrument. So when a devotee, he more and more understands the Lord's benevolence, the Lord's merciful nature, and the Lord's compassion for the fallen souls, then what he will do? He will try to be part of that mission. He will try to remain as an instrument, and he will try his best to help the Lord in his mission. Just for that reason only the Lord descends. The Lord descends knowing our stubborn nature, but still is very merciful. Because of his merciful nature, he sends himself, he comes himself, he sends his devotees, he gives us scriptures, and he enacts various pastimes, and he brings us. So this is merciful nature. So we'll stop here. You have any questions, any comments, or any realizations? Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. The question is that if we just observe in a very simple way, we can understand that there is a creator behind the creation by observing the various things in this material world. But a person who is very intellectual, is very brilliant, how they are missing this point? This is the question. Now, this is what, when I just reading that first canto purport, that Maya, the first Namaste Purusham Tvadyam in the purport, Prabhupada exactly puts this point. Prabhupada makes the point that one will miss the point. He says that he attributes it to the previous sinful acts in the previous life. They are maybe so intellectual and all those logic and other things they may happen, but they may miss this such a simple point. One is because of the demoniac attitude. Second thing is also the effect of the sins of the previous life. So they are not able to even perceive this. They are able to understand so many other logics. Why it's simple, straight. What's your answer for this? They don't accept it. So one of the reasons is that the demoniac nature. Even if you show some things, they are not able to accept and understand, or they are trying to come up with some different logic. So it's bewildering actually. But it's when we see from the scriptural perspective, the more a person is sinful, the more he cannot see things in proper perspective. So one has to be purified. Well, for that matter, it's not that we don't use logic at all in trying to explain something. Yes, we do, but then at one point of time, one has to understand that the law is called as Adokshaja. The Lord is one of the names is called Adokshaja. He is above the senses and the mind. So up to some extent, we can point with logic and other using our mind and intelligence. To some extent, we can come. But again, when it comes to further details, you have to accept the authority. You have to accept the scriptures. We can't deny that. Any other question, comment? Any other points you want? Yes, Prabhu. That's close. Yeah, I think so. The question is that if they had committed so much of sin, yes, true. So if they are so much sinful, how is that they have got they have got a maybe good birth, or they have got a big high education? How to understand that? Well, another another perspective from which we can look at is that also, if you are too proud, maybe you will not be able to see things in proper perspective. I'm just thinking, you're too proud, and that pride also puts a screen in front of you, and you have that nature of, I can manage everything by myself with my own intelligence. I can try to explain for everything. They're trying so much, but it's not working out. Nothing is coming out properly. And that could be one reason. So two things Prabhupada says. One is one sin, another one is he's saying that also the demoniac attitude, he says in that purport. Two things are saying. Yeah, it's very unfortunate that person who can, come with so much of big logic and come with so many different kinds of what to say, manufactured theories. You can't look at some simple straight point. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.